The Ark of the Covenant was one of the most important symbols of faith and God's presence. Inside the ark were the tablets of the law, the 10 Commandments, a jar of manna, the food God gave the Israelites in the desert, and Aaron's rod, a staff that had shown God's power. The story of the ark begins in the book of Exodus. God wanted to live among the Israelites and had already shown how holy and powerful He is. When God gave the Torah law on Mount Sinai, no one was allowed to touch the mountain. Moses even built a barrier around it. There were thunder, lightning, and fire, clear signs of God's power and separation from people. But even after showing how separate and holy He is, God told Moses He wanted to live among His people, right in the center of their camp. Wherever the Israelites set up camp, God wanted His tent, called the tabernacle, to be placed in the middle. This showed that He was with them, but still holy and to be respected. Exodus gives detailed instructions for building the tabernacle. Everything inside was designed to teach the people about God and how to properly approach Him. The tabernacle sat at the center of the camp, with the 12 tribes surrounding it in a circle. Even though God lived in the center of the camp, the tabernacle wasn't easy to enter. The first step to come close to God was to offer a sacrifice. The worshiper had to bring an animal, which was then killed and burned on an altar as a gift to God. After that, the person had to wash their hands in a copper bowl, called a laver, before going any closer. The tabernacle was split into 2 main sections. The inner part, known as the most holy place or Holy of Holies, was where God's presence lived. It was hidden behind a heavy curtain, and only the high priest could enter it, once a year, to offer a special sacrifice for the sins of the people. Inside the Holy of Holies was the Ark of the Covenant, with 2 golden angels, cherubim on top. These angels represent judgment in the Bible and were facing down toward the mercy seat, the golden cover of the Arkansas. The high priest would sprinkle the blood of a perfect 1-year-old ram there as a way to ask for forgiveness for everyone. The ark held the manna, the law tablets, and Aaron's rod. Even though there was no natural light in the Holy of Holies, it was always filled with light because God's glory shone there. In Exodus 25 verses 10 to 22, God gave exact instructions on how to build the Arkansas. It was to be 2.5 cubits long and had very specific features, showing again that everything about worship was to be done exactly as God commanded. The Ark of the Covenant was a wooden box made from acacia wood. It was 2.5 feet long, 1.5 feet wide, and 1.5 feet tall. It was covered in pure gold inside and out, and had a gold trim around the top. The ark had 4 gold rings on its sides, 2 on each side, so it could be carried. Long wooden poles covered in gold were placed through these rings. These poles were never to be taken out. The ark also had a lid called the mercy seat, which was made from pure gold and matched the size of the Arkansas. On each end of the lid, there was a gold figure of an angel called a cherub. The cherubim had their wings spread out and faced each other. This showed they were watching and ready to serve God. God said He would appear above the mercy seat, between the 2 cherubim. From there, He would speak to Moses and give His commands to the people of Israel. Exodus 25 verse 22, NASB. There I will meet with you, and from above the mercy seat, from between the 2 cherubim on the Ark of the Testimony, I will speak to you about everything I command for the Israelites. Unlike idols worshipped by others, the ark wasn't meant to be a statue of a god. It was a symbol of God's presence, especially when the priests were around. Even if the priests weren't there, the stone tablets with the 10 Commandments inside the ark reminded the people of God's law. God gave Moses clear instructions on how to build the ark and where to place the 10 Commandments. Later, in Numbers 17:10, God told Moses to place Aaron's staff in front of the ark as a warning to rebellious people. Moses and Aaron also placed a jar of manna inside the ark, as God told them to do. So the ark contained 3 special items. The tablets of the 10 Commandments, Aaron's staff that had sprouted flowers, a golden jar of manna, a food God provided from heaven. This is confirmed in Hebrews 9 verses 3 to 4. Behind the second curtain was the room called the Most Holy Place, which had a golden altar for incense and the Ark of the Covenant. The ark was completely covered in gold and held the golden jar of manna, Aaron's rod that budded, and the stone tablets of the covenant. Meaning and symbolism. Manna jar showed God's continued care and provision for his people. Aaron's rod, though it was just a stick, it grew flowers to prove God chose Aaron as high priest. The veil. The ark was kept in the holiest part of the tabernacle, behind a special curtain or veil. This veil was made from blue, purple, and red yarn and hung on gold-covered pillars. Exodus 26, verses 33 to 34. Hang the veil from the hooks and put the ark of the testimony behind it. The veil will separate the holy place from the most holy place. Place the mercy seat on the ark inside the most holy place. Jesus and the veil. When Jesus died, something powerful happened. Mark 15 verses 37 to 38. Jesus let out a loud cry and died. Then the curtain in the temple was torn in two from top to bottom. This tearing of the veil symbolized that people no longer needed a high priest to approach God. Jesus made the way open for everyone. Jesus died on the cross. What it means. Hebrews 10 verses 19 to 22. Jesus dying on the cross is a powerful moment in history. Hebrews 10 verses 19 to 22 explains why it matters so much. So, brothers and sisters, we can now enter the most holy place because of Jesus' blood. He opened a new and living way for us through the curtain, that is, through his body. And since we have a great high priest over God's house, let's come to God with sincere hearts, fully trusting him. Our hearts have been made clean from guilty thoughts, and our bodies washed with pure water. In the past, the Israelites couldn't go into the most holy place, where God's presence was. Only the high priest could enter once a year. But now, because of Jesus, everyone who believes in him can come close to God without fear. The Ark of the Covenant, a symbol of God's presence. In the Old Testament, the Ark of the Covenant was a special chest that represented God's presence to the Israelites. Whenever they had the Ark with them, they were safe and successful because God was with them. For example, in Joshua 3 verse 6, when the Israelites were about to enter the Promised Land, Joshua told the priests, "Take up the Ark of the Covenant and go ahead of the people." As the priests carried the Ark and stepped into the Jordan River, the water stopped flowing, and the people crossed safely near Jericho. The Ark was also important during the Battle of Jericho, Joshua 6. The Israelites carried it around the city once a day for 6 days, led by priests blowing trumpets. On the seventh day, they marched around 7 times. Then the people shouted loudly, and the walls of Jericho fell flat. The Ark in battle and what happened later. But the Ark wasn't a magic box. It represented God's presence. In 1 Samuel 4 verses 10 to 11, when the Israelites treated it like a good luck charm instead of honoring God, they lost a big battle to the Philistines. The Philistines fought, and Israel was defeated. 30,000 soldiers died, and the Ark of God was captured. Eli's 2 sons, Hophni and Phinehas, also died. Later, in 1 Samuel 6, the Philistines decided to return the Ark. They put it on a wagon with golden offerings. 2 cows pulled it straight to a town called Beth Shemesh. When the people saw it, they rejoiced. They placed the Ark on a big rock, and the Levites offered sacrifices to God. Was the Ark of the Covenant ever found? Many people think the Ark was found in 1936, but that's not true. The last time the Bible mentions its location is in 2 Chronicles 35. Since then, its location remains a mystery. The people gave offerings to the Lord, but because they looked directly at his presence, 70 of them died. Unsure of what to do, they sent a message to the town of Kiriath Jearim, asking the people there to come and take the Ark of the Covenant. According to 1 Samuel chapter 7, the people of Kiriath Jearim went and brought the Ark to the house of a man named Abinadab. His son took care of it for 20 years, and the Ark stayed in that city the whole time. Later, in 2 Samuel chapter 6, King David sent some men to Kiriath Jearim, also called Bala, to bring the Ark back to Jerusalem. 2 of Abinadab's sons, Uzzah and Ahio, were in charge of moving the Arkansas. As they were traveling, the oxen pulling the cart stumbled. Uzzah reached out to steady the ark, but because he touched something so holy, he died right away. David became afraid and didn't want to take the ark into Jerusalem right away. Instead, he left it at the home of a man named Obed-Edom. During the 3 months it stayed there, Obed-Edom's household was blessed. This made David feel better, so he went back, brought the ark to Jerusalem, and placed it in a special tent. It was welcomed with music, dancing, and joy. Later, in 2 Chronicles chapter 35, during King Josiah's celebration of Passover, he told the priests to put the ark in the temple that King Solomon, David's son, had built for the Lord. This is the last time the Bible mentions where the ark was. After King Nebuchadnezzar destroyed Jerusalem and the temple, the ark disappeared. But in Revelation chapter 11, verse 19, John says that the ark will be seen again after Jesus returns. It says the temple in heaven was opened, and the ark was seen inside it. There were flashes of lightning, thunder, an earthquake, and a big hailstorm. The journey of the ark through Israel and even among the Philistines is well recorded in the Bible, but what happened to it afterward is a mystery. Still, the ark played a very important role in the Bible. It showed God's presence and helped the Israelites in many tough times. Before Jesus died on the cross, the Holy Spirit didn't live inside people. That meant God's presence wasn't always with them. But for the Israelites, the ark represented God's presence. One example is in Joshua chapter 3, when the Israelites had to cross the Jordan River to enter the Promised Land. The priests carrying the ark stepped into the river, and the water stopped flowing so the people could cross. After they crossed, the priests brought the ark out, and the river started flowing again. The ark showed that God was with them. In Revelation 11 verse 19, John describes a future time after the final judgment. He says the temple in heaven was opened, and the ark appeared. There were lightning, thunder, an earthquake, and a great hailstorm. At that time, all barriers between people and God will be gone. Everyone, Christians, Jews, and Gentiles, will clearly understand God's truth.